Hey, this is Anthony with 10 Minute Moto, and I'm here with a special guest today, my wife, Brittany. And we're going to go over how we set up her dirt bike for her 2016 KTM 250 SXF. And we're going to get her thoughts on the bike, and we're going to go over the setup. And boy, did we go through some trials and tribulations with this whole process, but it ended up working out in the end. Thanks for coming and giving your 2 cents, Brittany.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
Look forward to it.
So how did you start off on this journey with the motorcycles?
Oh boy. It was probably 10 years now. Soon after we actually met, that you introduced me to riding on my own, not just on the back with you. So that was really the first time that I was formally introduced to riding.
What was the first bike? How'd it rate?
First dirt bike was a TTR 125. Is that by Yamaha?
It's Yamaha?
Yamaha. That was my very first bike, and I cut my teeth on that out on the western side of Washington, doing some trail riding. It was a good first bike, coming off from a like men's pro downhill bike. It unfortunately didn't even feel as good as that, but I would say it got me used to being on 2 wheels and with a motor, and served its purpose, even if my time with that specific bike was short-lived. I think I kept it for 3 months.
You had an engine, you had a clutch. That was about all she wrote.
Yeah.
But, I think we had that for about a month and a half. And it served its purpose. It's a good bike, and I mean, there's a ton of people that learn on that bike, and nothing wrong with that, but it has some limitations, and those limitations come quick. And we moved on, and in my brilliant thought, we went to a KX100, which in hindsight maybe wasn't the best way to go, but I was itching to put a recluse clutch on that and get it all set up for, and thought, there'd be a big jump in suspension. It's lightweight, but unfortunately, due to the wheel size and the 2-stroke nature and it being finicky to get to just idle and be conducive for a kind of an off-road enduro / mixed-use play riding scenario, it didn't end up being the best setup. Again, the small wheels, no electric start, pipey nature of a 2-stroke, even with a small flyweight on it or a recluse clutch, just wasn't, you're kind of in this dead zone of trying to find a bike that's going to be a good transitional bike as the skills are progressing. How did you feel about that bike?
At first I loved it. It was a big improvement. To me, at least as a novice rider, it felt like a big improvement in performance compared to the TTR. The TTR was really heavy, didn't have a whole lot of power to it, but was really friendly for learning, like you said, the mechanics of riding, clutch, braking, just kind of some basic mechanics. And then the KX100 was a fun little bike. And I originally really enjoyed riding it, but then I think it came back to bite me a handful of times because it was kind of got away from me a couple times.
It'll bite you.
And it did. I had a couple instances where I got hurt on it, and
she got introduced to whiskey throttle.
I did very quickly.
Yeah.
It was a shock.
Like we all have. Like we all have.
Right here, it's a rite of passage, and
Yeah.
I have now been through that. But no, it was a fun little bike to ride. But I think just kind of like what you said, when I was riding with you and other riders who were on bigger bikes, I was at a disadvantage with wheel size, and it was just a temperamental little bike. It wasn't user friendly from the temperamental part.
It's a pissed off little bumblebee that wants a 14-year-old at Loretta on that thing just.
That's not me.
But, you run into the issue of you have progressing skill sets, you have height and leg length restrictions, and then you want a chassis to work well off-road, which progressed us to road riding a little bit. And I think, at least, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think that little Honda Grom was a real great training tool in the city to bop around. and get a feel for riding on the road with that, in conjunction with now starting to have your dirt bike experience, being
Yeah.
on a mountain bike, and getting a lot of seat time on that little 125, that little Grom was great. We have Grom dates in downtown Tacoma.
Yeah, Anthony made it a point to make sure that I was starting to learn both on the dirt, and he knew I wanted to get into road riding, so started on the dirt first to get me comfortable, then progressed me to the road. And as you said, you forgot the fiddler. At first we had the fiddler.
Throw a moped in the mix, but hey, everyone likes a moped. I won't make the reference, but like a moped's always going to come in and out of the mix.
Yeah, the very first thing he got me was a fiddler moped, and that was pretty short lived in our repertoire of bikes. And then ended up getting me the little Honda Grom 125, and that's where I really kind of learned to get comfortable on the road around the back streets of Tacoma and downtown Tacoma. And I think that was a great little bike to learn on the street. It's super user friendly, it's small.
Nothing's going to surprise you.
No, and yet it operates like a full-size bike. So you, again, can learn your mechanics, can learn just comfort and safety on a bike while being on a bike that is comfortable and safe for a small beginning rider.
And you got to take some instruction with your permit and didn't have to have the old husband-wife teaching dynamic going on. So you actually went and took the course on that bike, and things, and we moved forward from there. We'll get more into what she's riding on the street here in future videos, but let's focus in on the dirt bike here. So from the KX100, thinking long and hard about weight, clutch pull, electric start, something that she can grow with. And, this might not be the first thought in someone's, looking at getting their wife into. And, arguably I could have gotten a XCF or, any different models within this range, but I wanted a link on the suspension, so that cut out the linkless KTMs. I wanted a good deal on one in case she hated it. I could sell it and not get hurt too bad. So we ended up with this used, with like 3 hours on it, KTM 250 SXF. And what I did to set it up for her is I had a friend lower the suspension on this thing about 4 inches, which worked out great. Thanks, Dave Alexander. He did a fabulous job on this. So that brought the bike down, and still with the valving and stuff to maximize what travel she had left in there. And that helped with the confidence a ton. I made the gearing a little taller to take away any hit really there, and didn't go out of whack. I think I might have thrown lessened it by a couple teeth in the back. I'd have to double check on that, but I'll probably post that up in some text on the video. And put it on the soft map there for her. And she's got, hydraulic clutch, electric start, full-size wheels, which are a huge deal when you're riding off-road. And that's basically what I did to set the bike up for her. And she's just loving it. And she's having great success with it. How does this compare to your TTR and your KX?
It's night and day. I remember when you brought this home, and I had recently looped out on the KX100, and I think I was still kind of nervous about riding at that point. And so then to have a big bike here in the garage, I will admit I was a little surprised. And then especially the first time I got on it before it had been lowered, there was probably a good 4 or 5 inches before my toes would even hit the ground, which made me even more nervous. But he assured me that he would make sure that he set me up, which I trust him. He always does set me up in the most right way that you can. And after Dave went over the bike and I got it back and started riding it again, it's been like a total night and day difference. It's so smooth. It's got a lot of power. It's confidence inspiring. I find that even though this bike is bigger than any one that I have ridden in the past, at least off-road, it's way friendlier than the smaller bikes that I had. And I think there's a lot of things that go into that, including it being sized well for me, better power to get through sticky terrain, bigger wheels to get through sticky terrain.
Electric start.
Electric start, which I really appreciate not having to do a kickstart anymore because that little KX100 gave me a
Hydraulic
workout
clutch.
many times. Yeah, it's a really nice, well set up bike, and I feel really good when riding it, and it's just so fun.
So here we have Brittany on the bike, and you can see it fits her pretty good. She's just sitting there centered on the bike. How tall are you?
5'4".
5'4". So one thing when you're trying to, this has even worked for myself, one thing you want to do with maybe trying to figure out how much height you want to take out of the bike is I'll sit myself or have whoever we're setting the bike up for get on the bike, and then we'll take dunnage, basically 2x4s, 2x6, 2x8, whatever, and put it on each side under the feet, and you can build those up to a point of where you feel comfortable, where you think enough height has been taken out of it, and then you have a reference point of like, oh, I need 2 inches, I need 4 inches, I need a foot and a half out of it. But as you can see, this fits her great when she has her boots on and whatnot. If she slips off to the side there, she can pretty much be flat-footed. You know, they're on trail, and I think the bike suits her well. A couple other things, we went with a lower profile seat.
Oh, yes.
On this as well. Another thing that is very noteworthy in my opinion, and I'm a devils are in the details, and I'm very detail oriented, is I didn't want to just jack these forks clear up into clamps and just do the get away with type mods to lower it just a little bit. I wanted to give her the experience of having the geometry as close to factory as possible with just getting it lower, and I think that's important. I mean, I'd want to do that on my bike, so why not do it for her? And as you can tell, we got a kickstand on it for her too. So
Modified kickstand because it's lower now.
you know this thing's working pretty even, pretty good for her, and she's having a good time on the bike. So thanks for checking us out. I'll have Brittany on the show here again for her now street weapon of choice is the 890 Duke R, which she's doing great on. We set that up for her also, and I think she's enjoying that just as much as the dirt.
Oh my gosh, maybe more. I don't know.
Okay. Well, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.